Head to head.
And, yep.
Nice. Oh.
So let's talk about Xenoverse 3. So in the first part of the video, we see Jane 1000 in a cluttered room, which is stated to be Bulma's room / storage room. I really like the idea of us having a home base instead of us just spawning into an open lobby like how we did in Xenoverse 2. I was never really a fan of this. It just felt like one of those animes where, you know, the main character spawns into a new world and they get stuck there, and it's like this whole thing. I assume the idea here is that we're going to progress through the story, and as we progress, we're going to be able to declutter the room. And as we declutter the room, hopefully we'll be able to customize the room and, like, you know, add paintings and clothing and different like options to actually make the room into our own. So next we see there's an elevator door. We go inside to actually head to the main lobby. Then we drop down and see the main lobby area, which looks much more calm and personal than it did in Xenoverse 2. It looks more like a hotel / apartment lobby. And we have a few XV2 original characters and some old classic characters like Trunks and Vegeta. Based on the small interactions that we can have with Vegeta and Trunks, it seems like this is the new mentor method. Like, you know how in Xenoverse 2 we had to go throughout the Cooldown city and basically find the different mentors in the different like little areas, and then after we train under them, we would obtain different skills. And once you max all of their skills, if they had it, we could do dual ultimate attacks. So I think this is going to be the new way to do that in Xenoverse 3. Basically, Xenoverse 3's way of the same thing, which is still pretty cool. Overall, I like this design, especially the way that the lobby feels. It just feels way better than what we originally had. The design of having a personalized room in addition to a lobby makes the player feel more like the main character instead of just another time patroller. So first off, the city has much more depth than Cooldown City. Overall, it looks much more vast and open than just the floating rock that we had in Xenoverse 2, which was really weird, by the way. It was like just floating rock with just a bunch of different areas just pushed together. You could even go on the edges of Cooldown City and actually see that it was literally just like this floating island. It was pretty weird. And we also see that we are able to run around the city and basically talk to different people and interact, and I'm assuming this is going to be like a lot of side quests and different things to do. In Cooldown City we kind of had this, but it was like it was done in such a weird way that it was like it wasn't heavily explored unless we had to do it for like a specific mission or something like that. But for the most part, it was really under the radar. We only ever did it if we needed a transformation or a specific skill or like clothing or something like that. This seems like it genuinely makes you want to actually explore the world. So I'm definitely very interested to see how this part of the game will actually turn out. It reminds me a lot of like how the old Naruto games were, if you ever played those, where you would run around the city in different areas and just like interact with different characters and whatnot. Them including Gamma 1 as a base game character in the city is definitely a wild choice, and definitely shows us and just makes the game overall feel super up to date, in my opinion. Mind you, he was a DLC character in Xenoverse 2. So them including DLC characters in base game is already like, okay, they're definitely changing it up. Next, we see the characters drop into what seems to be a raid battle, and the initial animation is already way better than what we got in Xenoverse 2, where we would have to just sit there and look stupid for 30 seconds, wait for words to flash across the screen, and then the boss would drop in. Now the characters fly in, hit the same exact pose that the Z Fighters hit when their whole team is flying into a battle. We briefly sit for about maybe what seems to be 10 to 15 seconds, and then we immediately go to battle. We also see that Saiyan, Human, Majin, and Frost Demons are confirmed races, and we also see a Namekian in the lobby. So all the original Xenoverse 2 races seem to be here, which is definitely great. But we would also, of course, like to see more races added as well. Some of you guys may have already noticed on Twitter, there's a noticeable bust size difference on the female characters, hinting at them also giving us more customizable CAC range than what we originally had in Xenoverse 2, where it was like a small dial. We could kind of adjust it, but it really didn't make much of a difference. but I'm definitely looking forward to them showing us more on how CAC customization will work in Xenoverse 3. So now we see Jane fly in with a white aura. This was one of my biggest issues with Xenoverse 2. I never liked the fact that humans and Saiyans and even all the races in general, some of the other races have other colors in base, but I never liked the fact that our base aura was blue. When you watch Dragon Ball or play Dragon Ball games, the base aura is always white because it's really not even white, it's really clear. Because really it's not even aura, it's just them flying so fast that they're splitting through the air, and then when they transform they actually get an aura color when they fly. But there's no reason for them to already have a color before they even transform. So I really like the fact that they fixed this attention to detail, and now they all have like the clear aura that they should have. Now we see Jane use a Kamehameha skill and then do a combo. The first thing I notice here is the beautiful damage numbers. I absolutely love those. Then I see the enemy's health bar and key gauge on the right. At first glance this looks good. Then I notice that Jane does a key break and it stuns Apple, temporarily immobilizing him and turning his key bar red the same way a stamina break would in Xenoverse 2, meaning key and stamina have now been combined. The key bar also seems to replenish itself quite fast, with the max being 5. She then finishes him with a Kaioken Assault. To be honest, I don't know how I feel about this. On one side, managing ki and stamina was one of the things you just had to master in Xenoverse 2 to be a good player, which personally I liked because it required you to actually get good. On the other side, some players could never quite master this and felt as though it was overcomplicated. Overall, I feel like combining them definitely makes it easier. The question is whether or not this simplicity is actually good for the game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Now I notice that we can now see exactly how many health points we have, and later you'll see we can also see exactly how many health points our enemy has. This is a huge improvement from Xenoverse 2. Before, we had to use that stupid scouter mode to see health points and stats, which according to Dragon Ball lore doesn't even make sense, because the scouter stops working shortly after it's introduced, and everyone basically learns that being able to detect energy is far more efficient than using the scouter. You could argue that the patrollers have upgraded scouters in Xenoverse 3. We even see a new prototype being produced in the trailer, but overall it just makes much more sense for us to be able to actually see how much health we have and how much health our enemy has. So we now see Jane use a wide range ult attack. In my opinion, this does not feel like Xenoverse at all. In fact, it feels like a direct copy and paste from Kakarot. That being said, it doesn't necessarily look bad. I'm just not sure how this will fit into the overall combat of Xenoverse 3. And the fact that it only took one of Jane's key bars is absolutely insane. Not to mention the fact that ultimate attacks now have a cooldown, so we can no longer spam attacks. And that part alone is also like unacceptable. That's literally one of the things that made Xenoverse 2 Xenoverse 2. We would all gather and get together and have our own ultimate attacks and spam ultimate attacks on a raid boss, try to get the health bar down, as low as we could. We would all take our turns at the boss, and then you got the world health and stuff. So we can't even do that no more. They took that away completely. Now I noticed something pretty interesting where Jane actually uses some basic ki blasts, and they actually do considerable damage, which is a huge improvement from Xenoverse 2, because in Xenoverse 2 basic ki blasts are pretty much useless in terms of damage. They're only useful for really setting up tech and vanishes, but outside of that they don't do any real damage unless you charge them up, which we don't see Jane do here, by the way. All of our skills being on a cooldown timer regardless of ki is absolutely unacceptable. This gotta be fixed ASAP, bro. Everything basically takes 30 seconds to actually cool down and be able to be used again in order for you to use basically anything. In terms of, I think they said the transformation takes like 60 seconds, some of the other skills take 30 seconds, but literally every single skill is on a cooldown timer. Nobody wants to transform into Super Saiyan 3 only to be having a time limit on it and then de-transform. At the very least, It should be like Kakarot, where we're able to maintain a certain level of ki or ki drain to be able to keep the transformation on. But they gotta fix this ASAP. Now, in terms of the actual raid boss itself and the raid event itself, I feel like this raid boss Broly, and Super Broly at that, is actually pretty cool. Overall, the stage looks amazing. Broly's model looks really up to date. The way that they have the iceberg where you hide behind it and then you wait to attack at certain times, all of that looks really good. And I like how the raid stage itself is more 3D now than what we had in Xenoverse 2. The raid boss areas that we had in Xenoverse 2, we had 3D stages, but it was like, if you play Xenoverse, you know what I'm saying. It was 3D, but it was like very flat at the same time. So it's very cool now to see them actually do more, I guess, attention to detail with stages. And it also seems like there's better stage destruction as well, I've noticed, within this raid. So overall, I definitely like this way better than Xenoverse 2. Next, we see this new mechanic they're referring to as Soul Switch. I do not like this mechanic at all. It basically allows you to be able to change into one of the main Z fighters and use them as a character to fight with. First and foremost, this is a direct pull from Dragon Ball The Breakers. Okay, the going theme here is basically they use the other games to basically help make this game. The Breakers and Kakarot and all that was all just a setup to basically help make Xenoverse 3, because Xenoverse 3 right now is looking like an amalgamation of like multiple other Dragon Ball games, and it's so obvious that they just literally copying and pasting different unique skills and abilities from other stuff directly into this. So with Soul Switch, you basically can use it in replacement of a transformation. That is its only redeeming quality to me, because these unique human transformation we had in Xenoverse 2, the Nimbus Cloud and Power Pole Pro, that was really trash for real. Okay, humans really deserve way better than that. In my opinion, the transformation we should have gotten was Master Roshi's max power transformation, and Xenoverse 3 really needs to do that instead of giving us Soul Switch. Okay, that's way better. Okay, but basically you can change into a Z fighter and then use them, and just like all the other transformations, unfortunately, and all the other skills, it does have a cooldown. And so basically you're using the soul to basically switch, and we see in the first part where basically you need to actually talk to the character and they need to become your mentor in order to be able to get this skill. So that's how it works. Its redeeming quality, again, is the fact that you don't have to use it, and humans don't have access to same transformations, obviously. So I would prefer using that over using Power Pole Pro. So that's like, you know, it's okay. But I feel like the two transformations we really need is either the Master Roshi transformation, or another concept I have is the Babidi transformation. What if we got a Majin Awakening for humans, where we get the M symbol on our head and it boosts all abilities, like how Spobovich had when he worked with Babidi. Basically Babidi's mind control. That would be dope. But this Soul Switch is mid, to say the least. So the overall interface feels way too much like a mobile game right now. They really need to remove how to do the light, heavy, and all that stuff. We don't need to be constantly reminded on how to do basic attacks, okay? That's just unnecessary. The pop-up HUD, that is the best thing ever. They need to just stick with that, where it just pops up when you hold R2 and it shows you your skills. That's fine. They need to move the R2 and the L2 more towards the left and the right of the screen. The health bar, that's cool. But being constantly reminded of how to do basic attacks, that's unnecessary. Hopefully that's just for the demo and they make some final changes. But outside of that, it's fine. Overall, I think the game looks very promising, but definitely doesn't feel like Xenoverse right now. It needs major improvements to the combat system for sure. It looks just a little bit sloppy, but I think they'll definitely improve that. The next trailer needs to be a customization trailer. That's what we all want to really see. Xenoverse 2 is all about customization. So if Xenoverse 3 has better customization, You know, everybody wants movable tails. We want better clothing, more color palettes for the clothing. Everybody that plays Xenoverse 2 knows exactly what we expect from Xenoverse 3. Okay, we want, you know, we don't want no more wigs. We want movable hair, all kind of stuff. Okay, y'all know. So that's the kind of stuff that they need to show us in the next trailer. But so far we got good graphics, vastly improved lobby, new mechanics, and a new story. So let me know what you guys think in the comments and what you guys think they can improve upon. Oh, and side note, there's also a Xenoverse 3 road tour where we can go and actually play Xenoverse 3 early. Here's a picture of the road map. I'm going to try to go to one of these so I can get you guys some exclusive in-person content. But make sure you join my Kyle Ken tier if you guys want to see those videos. As always, appreciate the support, boys. Peace.